I got a new phone. I got a new mount. It's kind of a cheap mount, and it's not precisely designed for this kind of vehicle. And so this could be shaky, this could be awful, this could be something. We're going to see how it goes. And I'm not going to worry too much. Hopefully, I don't say anything too profound. Hopefully, my rear view mirror holds up the way it's meant to. And let's see. Here, because I'm much closer. This is a new phone, like I said. And yeah, we're gonna get moving. I have gone to Breakneck again and did a little mini run up the mountain like I did, whoops, before. And you see here, it's just like it's just in the wrong place for when I'm driving. I'm very close. My hand runs very close to the phone to possibly knock the phone over. I don't need the phone to see where I'm going because I'm in familiar territory. So that's why this is a decent place to test it. So I'm getting used to it on several levels. It's an Android phone, but it's I got like a Google phone now. So these Google phones, they behave a little bit different. And so part of this test is just seeing how everything holds up. It's a slight test of my to see how I feel about how I see any chat conversation coming through. Because although I'm great with it being like right here, like it's in my face, it's not obstructing anything in particular, but at the same time it's a little too close to the wheel, and I'm trying to get the angle just right. I might be able to adjust it, but I'm not going to mess with it like that right now. I am going to see, because I knocked my mirror slightly. That should be alright. Okay. And off like that. Good. There we go. Where are they taking the hobbits? To Isengard would be the correct answer. They're taking the hobbits to Isengard. Anyway, yes, I know. I look like a Lord of the Rings character, and that's all that you know. Sog-Yig Oz. Lovecraftian fan? If you look on... Oh, I may have to re-upload it. I don't think it's on this channel. It was on this channel, maybe. Or is it? Oh, I think it is. Yeah, no. Oh, it is. Okay, if you look, if you're a Lovecraft fan, I live about 2-3 hours from Providence. About maybe 3 hours from Providence. And I went to Providence, like a year and a half ago or something like that. And while I was there, I went to Lovecraft's grave. I read The Alchemist to Lovecraft at his grave on a full moon. It wasn't nighttime. The moon wasn't out. My beard. Hey, thank you. Yes, I like my beard too. There's so many of you guys, immortal or I'm mortal. Very good. I am, that's a good question, right? About mortality. As far as I know, as I have comprehended from the world around me, is that I am mortal, that I will die in this world one day. But, as they say in the cliche, death is not the end. Oh, I can't play any Tool because the live stream and the audio player and the phone don't mix, and I don't have another connection to Tool song to play while we're doing that. And I don't really sing like Maynard, so you don't want to hear me butcher 46 and 2. But I dig Tool. I've seen him live once. I saw Perfect Circle once. Bear with me. But the immortal aspect of it, that's just the concept of the soul, right? People that are not atheists, they believe the soul is this eternal thing, and they won't tell you that it's not. And then they tell you things about like eternal heaven, eternal hell, temporary limbo that then transitions into eternal heaven. Yeah, I know that. That name doesn't come from delusions of grandeur. That name comes from knowing the absolute truth of the immortality of the soul. I could die in 3 seconds from now. You'll get to watch it happen in real time. You'll get to see how awful it is. And then I'll get kicked out of my body. I'll go through the reincarnation process, and I'll show up again as some fucking baby. And then I get to do it all again whenever I'm ready to come back in. Do I believe in God? I believe in something called the higher force. I often do not speak of it as, quote, God. Although that is what everybody means. But I say the higher force because there is something about the Creator that is beyond us. And I also believe that the creators are real, right? So when you ask me, do I believe in God, as in the omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, all that, it's not a singular entity. I believe that it is two that are, it's like if you know one of the very popular lores in Celtic mythos, where the world is created and there's the Tuatha De Danann. The Dan and the Danu are these primordial male deity, primordial female deities, effectively. And they are in this eternal coitus where they're practically, like, they're almost merged together, and in that place of that passion, where the two become one, creation is made, and then what's squeezed out of the two of their passions are the other gods. Right? And that is kind of what I see as the all, the creator. The all being the Hermetic principle of what the name for the highest of forces is, which is the collective consciousness of all things. As an animist, you may believe that a mountain, and thus rocks themselves, have a kind of consciousness. Yeah, that's a big no on Jesus. So if you're a Jesuite, I wonder if he will be a troll. It's funny when there are trolls for Jesus. You know, they show up here and just like they have the nastiest tone of voice while trying to spew the beautiful words that they heard in church, but there's too much bile in their heart, which proves that Jesus is not effective. And everything about the narrative of Jesus Christ of the Gospels is not effective. And then when you do a whole lot of work, you realize that all of it was plagiarized and then tried to reverse rationalize it as a universal axiom because it stole it from a universal axiom, and they don't understand some of the big differences, including the major fault that comes on with everybody who is doing metaphysical work that invokes Jesus, is that they're ultimately speaking Christianly because they're invoking in necromancy. They're invoking in necromancy a man that they never knew and have no connection to, but whom the stories told about him inspired them, and someone who interpreted the meaning of that story, right? Do you understand that Christianity, even after Jesus was killed, was the fish symbol? Because they were a pirate fishing cult. That's what the Christians started as. They were fishing pirates. They were fishermen, and they were also involved in trafficking. Oh my god, I think I'm going straight. Hope I'm going the right way. May have to remember a thing or two. Right. Yeah. There's all these problems. They believe all those things about going to hell and stuff, and they think that is a very important, absolute function of human behavior in the world, and therefore there is no divorcing it. Right? There are Christians that they play the poly game, right? They play the poly game because they're basically looking, for heathens of Christian quality, so that way they can kind of groom them and make them less heathen, right? And then we get confused about the meaning of that grooming process, because there's a lot of things that are stuff that everybody does that Christians also happen to do, which is right and proper to be and do in the world, and to have a conscience and morality and kindness and generosity and all these other things. I got off the wrong spot. I don't know where I am now. I'm just wandering around. But I should be going in the right direction, so I'm just going to roll with it for now. But I'm going to be getting off pretty soon to get myself back on track. But yeah, on this channel I do talk a great deal about spirituality, spiritual philosophy, metaphysics, but then I'm also in a bag of activism, conspiracy theories, human psychology, but that's all kind of wrapped up with spirituality and philosophy and things like that. But you see, back in like Christians came in and they changed the game. They changed the game because there was nothing about conversion, going on. Being convertive in religion is something that developed later, right? And then it became a question of that. Beforehand, it was mostly just a matter of, like, gods were thought of in a much more like, the god that you inherited, had everything to do with the kind of life you ended up having and living, right? And you were picking and choosing the life, and then you were going for the god that made sense. If you wanted to go out and live in the woods, you were going to be a Vanir-oriented dude. If you wanted to go out and build a fucking a fortress or some sort of a civilization or something like that, right? And you were much more interested in that kind of thing, you're going to end up being way more Aesir-minded, right? And I think you see that demonstrated all across the board in the historic records. You get a good demonstration of it in a film like The Northman, which really kind of zeroes in on that. Can you talk about Alan Watts' philosophy? From time to time, I do have things to say on Alan Watts. In fact, I was listening to a little bit of Alan Watts recently, but I am not a major Alan Watts person. So I have to prepare for Alan Watts, but I can have and done. There are places where I disagree with Alan Watts, but there's so much stuff that's really good and righteous about the whole thing, right? I'll say this. This is one of my more criticals of Mr. Watts is Wu Wei, right? The effortless living situation. I want to make sure that we contextualize it. Sometimes we have to take ourselves out of Wu Wei deliberately, right? And perhaps we have to throw ourselves off course where we lose the Wu Wei for a while because we don't know what's up, right? Because you have to challenge yourself, right? Like, you'll go through the major arcana of the tarot in your life many times, and when you're in the Hanged Man phase, there is no Wu Wei. There's no Wu Wei with the Hanged Man. There's no Wu Wei with death. Although I suppose death is kind of a Wu Wei, because it's effortless dying. You're still alive until you're dead, so you're alive while you're dying. So you could just effortlessly just accept it, and then you can think about how that operates. So anyway, I'm going to get myself the unfortunate luck of meeting you. You've had enough of reincarnating. Yeah, like a lot of people, like people that have had enough of reincarnation, I mean, like, they're Gnostic denialists because they're sharing the same attitude as the Gnostics. And they don't realize that by and large, the demiurge has no control over you personally. People who serve the demiurge might have control over you, but those are men just like you. And they're in the world just like you. And right now, there's a lot of people that they're living their lives just like you, and they're not fucking worried about that, right? The reason why you don't want to reincarnate anymore is not because this world sucks and you just want to figure out the secret to getting out of here so when you're dead you don't reincarnate or go to hell. You just don't want to be alone anymore, so you want to get reconnected on the spiritual side because there must be all sorts of entities to have a relationship with on the other side. People say, I'm done with this place. What's... You don't even know what you would want on the other side. All of us have no fucking idea. And there's no promise that during our time before the forgetting in the afterlife between lives that we're gonna like sit there and be like, well, let me take a look at this map here and say, oh, do I want to go to Venus? Do I want to go to the 8th realm? Do I want to, do I need to hit the Pleiades for a couple of generations? Nah, you know what? Australia. I should have incarnated in Australia. I should have gone to Australia in my last life. I'm gonna go to Australia this time. Oh, it's gonna suck when I forget, but it's all right because I need to learn new lessons and have new fun. And but I'm gonna keep X, Y, and they say you can pick and choose some shit. So I suppose you can. Right? Nobody wants to have this fucking mindset. Everybody wants to fucking torture themselves. Right? Everybody wants to have the worst way of looking at things. Mostly because, you think that you're above it, or you think you have to fucking take that one billionth of responsibility for the co-creation of this monstrous fucking world that you want to think you are in or whatever, and then you grow resent for people like me because you're not happy that I am not sharing in your misery, right? So then you must speak up and say, I am done. Oh, I am so done with this place, right? And you don't understand how somebody could not be done with this place unless they're some very shallow person who has been rewarded with all the easy things in life, right? Which is not the case with me. Believe me, I had a hard fucking time. You look at my goddamn fucking planetary alignments in my fucking birth chart, and you'd be like, holy shit, this guy's bigger life is a fucking mess. It's amazing that he ever got any fucking discipline at all, that he grew ever at all, that he ever straightened out his crazy impulse. It's like my chart, I was born under a very, very challenging chart, and it has made me a man of steel. I love it. I fucking love it now. 44 years old and I love it. 44 years old and I am more powerful than I've ever fucking been. And I've got a whole lot of potential and a lot more potential coming. And you need to make sacrifices. You need to do rituals and make sacrifices. And I don't mean fucking kill somebody. Sacrifice means many a thing. Ritual means many a thing. This isn't going to Satanic Temple and finding an innocent dove and slitting its throat. This is much more personal, much more pure, much more in alignment with the creators, with the natural order of all things. Have you read the Book of Merdad? Or Merdad? Okay, that's it. That's never heard of it. I'll try to remember that name. Buy some pizza and eat it, please. Well, that's fine. Pizza? You call yourself Deadpool and you're not telling me to eat chimichangas? Fucking shame on you, motherfucker. I'm gonna eat chimichangas for Deadpool. Fuck you. This is why you don't do drugs. I know, right? Don't do drugs, kids. You might have a positive outlook on life and eventually get your shit together and look damn good doing it at the same time. And then mockery means nothing to you because you can't believe where you come from and you can't believe how much that shit used to bother you and make you the most upsettest of peoples. Alright. I'm gonna unlost myself now. It's been a pleasure being trolled by half of you and curiositized by others. Please check out everything that I have to offer on this channel. I have some interesting playlists. I do a lot of vlogs like this. I try to do some more prepared and hot work from home, like when I read Heidegger and do my dissertations in a flow state. I got interviews that I do on this channel. I've done interviews on this channel. You may have noticed that I was on Awaken Your Mind. I'm associated with friends of Mark Passio's One Great Work Network, and I'm also associated with members of the Temple of the White Dragon, which, if you don't know anything about the pathwork of Black Earth Productions, then you'll have to stick around and listen, and you'll find out. All right, I catch you guys on the flip side.